Rebbe says, "Kshodem hoylech achas sichloi v'chochmosoi yochol lipoil b'teusim m'chshoylis rabim v'lovoi deirois gdoilos chaz v'sholem." I want to maybe try to learn a shtickle from the Torah. First, go through the Torah one time. The first chelik of the Torah with Pashtus, and then go back and see what we don't really understand. We think we understand, but we don't understand. So again, כשאדם הולך אחר שכלי בחוכמתו יוכל ליפול בתיעושים ומכשולת רבים ולא לידי רויס גדולים חס ושלום. ויש שקלקלו הרבה. That means that there are these people that they did go after the seichel and the chokhmah, and they fell into te'usim and mechsholis rabim. And since that, לכן יש קלקלו הרבה כגון הראשונים הגדולים מאוד המפורסמים שהיטו את העולם והכל היה על ידי חוכמתם ושכלם. So the Rebbe's Mamshon says, "Vika yadus hu rak leider betmimis ubepshitas."
Translate. Some people may not understand a little bit. Just translate.
Pashto English.
Pashto the type.
So the Rebbe says like this: if someone, Adam that's hoylech achas sichli v'chochmosei, could fall into mistakes and to mechsholis rabim. How do you say mechsholis in English?
Somebody who follows his own intellect and cleverness is going to fall into mistakes and pitfalls. Pitfalls.
And through these pitfalls, you come to bad things. Rois gdolos chas v'sholem.
Evil. It can become rois gdolos. It can be evil also. No, it can become
bad ways, bad things. V'yesh kilkul har, but there's a lot of people that were mkalkal. A lot of bad things, damage came out of this way of going after the seichel and the chokhmah. Kigoyin, the Rebbe says, Rishonim agdolim mo'idam mefursamim, big Rishonim that were very mefursim the Rishonim, that they shehitu sa'olam, they tzimish the whole world with their deis, with their chokhmah. They took the whole world to bad places. V'hakol hoya yidei chokhmasam v'sichlam. Everything came out through that they went after the chokhmah and the seichel. V'ika yadis, and the Ika Yiddishkeit is rak leilech b'tmimis u'b'pshitis, to go with the Eibishter and tmimis, with the way of tmimis and the way of pshitis, b'li shum chokhmas, without any chokhmas. That's the Ika Yadis. It's a strong statement to say it, because Lamaisi, it's hard to find such a statement, I think, in another sefer. Or even in the Sifrei Chassidus, you won't find such a statement that says Ikra Yadus rak leider betmimis ubshitis b'li shum chokhmas. Because not always chokhmah looks like a bad thing. Chokhmah is a person has to din the Eibishter with his seichel, with his chokhmah. So such a thing to say that the Ikra Yadus is going with tmimis ubshitis without chokhmas, it's something that's very special for Rebbe Nachman. No, I think he's the only one that says it in such an expression. So the Rebbe's Mamshach says, the Ika Yadis to go between Tmimis Pshitis, B'lishum Chochmas, V'listakel b'chol dover she'oiseh, she'yeh shom Hashem Yizboach, and the person should look in all the things that he's doing, that to see that the Eibishter is there, and he shouldn't be looking b'chlal and all the things that he's doing to be looking for his own personal kavod. If in the thing that he's doing there's kavod to Hashem Yisborach, that means from whatever he's doing there's something that's coming out of kavod to the Eibishter, so he should do it. Vim lav lav. And if he goes in such a way, that means in such a way of tmimis, without chokhmas, and whatever he's doing is always searching and looking not for his personal kavod, only from the kavod from the Eibishter. Then for sure that he wouldn't fall and have a michshol in anything that he's going to be doing. The Rebbe says, that means, and even if he did fall into sveikus, because the Rebbe was speaking till now how to din the Eibishter in a way that you shouldn't b'chlal come to sveikus. You should go between Misubshitis in such a way you don't fall into Sveikas. But if Afilu, the Rebbe says, if you did go after your Chochmah, you did go after your Seichel, and you fell into all kinds of Mechshoilis, and you fell into Sveikas, V'yesh, the Rebbe says, and if you losik doyle moed, there are even people that the Nefila is a big Nefila, Rahman al-Itzlan. Shenoifel is Sveikois, he falls into doubts, V'yiruim, to all kinds of thoughts, U'maharach Hashem Yisborach, and he's even Mahara after the Eibishter, and the ways of the Eibishter. Even if a person has such a kind of feeling, he falls into such places. Afal Pichein, the Rebbe says, Hanefile vayiride tachlis aliyah. This nefila and this yirida that he fell into is the tachlis of the aliyah. That means that he could come through this nefila that he fell into. It could be used. He could change it. That this nefila should become the tachlis aliyah. Let's go another shtickle a little weit, and then we'll go back again and we'll see what we saw. The Rebbe says kida. What has been kida? The reason why, even though a person falls into such a nefila, that he could turn over the nefila to be tachlis aliyah, is because kida ki shirish kol habriya. The shirish from the whole briya, who are kovid, is the kovid. Kovid. I think it's important to explain it now. Kovid is taka what it sounds like. Kovid, everything a person does, people do things for the kovid for themselves. And the Rebbe says here that a person shouldn't do things for his own kovid, he should do it for the kovid, for the Eibishter. But kovid doesn't mean only kovid the way we understand it. Kovid is, I say nochachut, presence. Yeah. The presence of the Eibishter all over. That's the kovid from the Eibishter. If you do something because you feel his presence, or you're doing something because you want other people to acknowledge his presence, that's called the kovid from the Eibishter. Kovid doesn't only mean kovid, that means the Eibishter has, I'm doing something right now that everyone's going to understand how big the Eibishter is. Gottlieb Hashem, kovid doesn't only mean in such a way. Kovid is everything that's a person that he's mechubit, is he has a presence. He's recognized. Everything that in the Bria that you could recognize the Eibishter from that thing, that's called Kvod Hashem. So the Rebbe says that the shirish from the Bria is the kovid. Why? Ki kol ma shebara Kodesh Baruch Hu uleborel lechvoide. It's a chazal in Yuma. The Rebbe brings the chazal that it says that whatever the Eibishter created in this world, he didn't create it only for his kovid. He wanted that through the creation of the Bria, his kovid should come out in the world. And like Chazal bring the pasuk, Kol hanikra b'shmi l'chvoidi b'rosiv. Everything that I created, I created for my kovid. So the Rebbe says like this: since everything was created for his kovid, nimtza. The reason why the Eibishter created the Bria was for his kovid. Kim Techois comes out that the whole time the shirish from the Bria till now, and every second is the whole time what's machaya the Bria, what's the reason for the Bria. That's the shirish from the thing, and the reason for the Bria is the kovid from the Eibishter. So that's why it's the shirish. The Rebbe says, even though the truth is that the shirish is one, because the shirish is the kovid from the Eibishter, and the Eibishter is one. Al kol zeh b'bria yesh chalokim. The Bria itself, there's a lot of parts. There's the shemesh, the yerech, the shemayim, the oretz. There's a lot of parts, a lot of powers, a lot of energies in the Bria. And since the shirish from the whole Bria is the kovid, so the Rebbe says, b'chol chelik v'chelik ma'bria, in every part of the Bria, yesh b'y b'chinas kovid miyuchad shu shorshoy kanal. Since the whole Bria b'chlolius, the reason for it is the Kvod Hashem Yisborach. So, and even though that thing it's echod, it's one, the whole Bria is one, in the Klolius it's one, but since the Eibishter divided the Bria into a lot of chalokim, so Kim Techois, that every chelik in the Bria it has a shirish of kovid, a different shirish. I mean, every chelik has a different chelik, a different shirish, but all the shirashim together are shaykh to one shirish, which that's kvod Hashem Yisbarach. I think it's good that we should learn like another shtickle to get another touch into the Torah, and don't go back, and we'll try to go through the things again. And that's, the Rebbe says, this whole idea that the Eibishter B'Shaf made the world with a kavanah that his kavod should come out of the Bria. And this part that the Rebbe explained, that the Bria has chalokim in it, and every chelik has a shorish for itself. This is the b'china what it says in Ovois Perekei, Basor Mamoris Nivro Oilam. In the whole Parshas Bereshis, it says Vayoyim Hashem, Vayoyim Hashem, Vayoyim Hashem Ye'or. All the Vayoyim Hashem that's a maimah. So that's called Basor Mamoris. There's 9 Mamoris, but Chazal say that even Bereshis, even though it doesn't say a Vayoyim in the beginning, even Bereshis is also a maimah. Bereshis Bar L'Kimas Hashemayim V'Sa'aretz, that first part is also a maimah. So Chazal say Basor Mamoris Nivro Oilam. And if you look into Bereshis, you could after Bereshis Bar L'Kim, you could count another 9 times that it says Vayoyim L'Kim, Ye'or Vayoyim L'Kim, like whatever it goes on further, it comes out to 10 parts. So the Rebbe says V'aloi b'mayim. No, it's a Chazal. The Chazal say V'aloi b'mayim echad in the same place in Ovis. Yochoy liboris. The Eibishter could have created the whole world with one maimer. Because it says Vayoyim Elikim Ye Oilam Ye Oretz, and the whole Bria would be created from one maimer. So why did the Eibishter divide the Bria from the world with 10 mamoros? Elo b'shvil, that's what Chazal say, schar v'oinish nivra basor mamoros. In the Chazal it says a little different. It says b'shvilitein oinish l'rishoyim and schar l'tzadikim. The Rebbe says more in a kitzah here, elo b'shvil schar v'oinish nivra basor mamoros. That means the Eibishter wanted that if a Chaz v'sholom, a Rasha does a bad thing, so he's doing a bad thing against a creation that the Eibishter created, not with one maimar, that the Eibishter created with 10 mamorim. So that means he's actually doing a big avera, because he's actually destroying, like the Rebbe says a word before, yeshakilkelu. He's destroying a creation that was created with 10 mamoris. And faket, if he's a tzaddik, so right now he's going to get schar for doing something good in a creation that the Eibishter created with 10 mamoris and not a one maimah. That's what Chazal say. And of course, if you look at the Chazal b'Pashtus, it could look like something that could be understood, but it's even in the Pashtus, it's very hard to understand. V'chi, that's what's kivei ataka. That's why the Eibishter created the world with 10 mamoros, because of this idea that he wants to give, even let's say on the good part, that he wants to give schar for someone that's a tzaddik. He wants to give schar, so now he's going to give him more schar because he said it. He like the Eibishter made a bigger effort to create the world. So now that you're part of the tikkun oilam, so I'm going to give you more schar because I was more mishtadled. I was more mesametz to create this world. So and you're doing a good thing in the world, so I'll give you more schar. And if you're chaz v'sholom Rasha, so now it's like I really worked hard to create this world, with not just with one maimer, just with 10 mamoris. So if you mekalkel the world, you get a big oinish. So even b'pashtus, the thing is, it needs a hezbollah to understand what's behind it. But of course, if you learn Torah Yud Beis, it becomes a lot. It's beautiful to understand taka, the whole idea. So we'll go back. So the Rebbe brings the maimer here. V'zeh b'chinas basor mamoris nivro oilam. V'aloi b'maimer echad, with one maimer yochel boris. B'shvil schar v'oinish nivro basor mamoris. U'b'chol maimer u'maimer yesh boi b'chinas kovod miyuchad, and in every maimah there's a b'china and a special kovod shehu shorshoy, that this kovod, this special kovod, is the shoyrish from this maimah. Why? Ka kovod u shoyrish hakoil kanal, because the kovod is shoyrish from everything kanal, like the Rebbe said before. The Rebbe said before that even though the Eibishter could have created the world, everything is echad. But even though the bria has chalokim, and every chelik has covered, so now the Rebbe is actually explaining that the chalokim mean the asorim amoris. That's the shirish from the chalokim, even though it's sure that on every chelik of the bria, the first time the Rebbe said chalokim, he didn't say maimar, he didn't say maimar, because every chelik, every cup in the bria, every glass, every spoon, every table is a chelik in the bria, and everything has a special covet, that this covet is shaykh to the shirish covet from the whole bria. The Rebbe goes further and says, it says in Tehillim, "Ubecholoi kuloi mekovid." Ubecholoi in heichel kuli, the whole heichel is one big expression of kovid. Shebechol maimu melubish by kvoidi is borach shaydeize nivro oilam. Because in every chelik in the bria, there's a kovid that through this kovid the Eibishter created the world. In the Rebbe's Mamshin, he says, "Kimiloi cholarets kvoide." The Rebbe brings like another pasuk to show this idea that in the whole bria, not just with the pasuk that the Rebbe brought in the beginning, that it says the Chazal that says Kol ma shebara Kadosh Baruch Hu bora lechavoidoi. That shows that the whole creation was created. The reason was covered, but now the Rebbe brings a raya to show that in every part of the bria, the whole bria, like the Rebbe brings before, becholei kulei mekovid. So you see kimeloi chol oretz kovid. It means the whole oretz, all the chalokim in the bria, every chelik has in itself a part, a shirish of kovid. And the Rebbe says, "Vafilu ba'veiros v'dvorim roim chaz v'sholom." Even in averis and in bad things, dvorim roim chaz v'sholom. Sheshom ein kvoid yizborach. That there in these places of averis there is no cover to the Eibush. That means you can't see, and l'chor, not just you can't see, it's soisa the covered, the honor, the presence of the Eibush. Even in those places which are the b'chinas uchvoidi la'achal lo etin. The Rebbe brings another pasuk in Yeshaya where it says uchvoidi la'achal lo etin. It means that in my covered, la'acha means avodah zarah. I'm not going to let my covet be expressed or be shown through acha, something that's avodah zarah, that's soisa my presence. So l'choira, in a place of avera, it's a place where there is no covet. It's shaykh to the idea from chvoidi la'acha lo yitim. Sheyesh gvul la'kovet shlo yispashet. On the Rebbe's masbet, there's a gvul. Everything, even though it has a shirish of covet, but there's a gvul, there's a boundary that the Eibishter's covet shouldn't go out to places where the Eibishter doesn't want it to come. Places that are chadashon, like averis or bad things, that are soisa the etzim covet from the Eibishter, so the Eibishter doesn't want his covet should come out of these places. So the Rebbe says, even though I just brought the pasuk that says that the whole earth is malach kvoidoi. Even though there are boundaries and places that the Eibishter doesn't want the covet to come there. That means, even though I said before that in all the chalokim of the bria, and befrat beklolius, and all the asor mamoris that the world was created with, there's a shirish of kovid, but all the chalakim from the bria, every chelik from the bria could go in a way that this way should chad v'shalom be a steer to the Eibishter. And right over there, when it starts going out of that place, there's a gvul, and over there, l'choyer, there's no kovid. Aval da, the Rebbe says, those places that are, even the averis and the bad things, the chiyus, that these things, these ideas could exist, ideas or maisim or mekoimis could even exist, is because they get the chiyus from the Eibishter. Vafilu mekoimis hamutunofim. How would I say mekoimis hamutunofim?
Dirty places.
Yeah, places that are hefech from Kedusha, dirty places. These places would also get the chiyas from the Eibishter, oy botei avodah zarah, which that's different than not holy places. That's places of botei avodah zarah, means places of kfira, places that are mamish in ideas, in chochmah, and seichel, the soisa, the Eibishter. There also, they get the chiyas from the Eibishter. Tzrichen gam ken kabel chiyas mimenu yizborach. So l'maisa, this whole explanation, when the Rebbe started, Kidak Yishelish Karabriya, is from Kovid. And the whole explanation that the Rebbe said, that even though the Klal Yisrael has one Sherish Kovid, but the Briya is mechulek to parts, all kinds of chalokim. And the Briya was created through Asarim Amoris. And since that, every part of the Briya has Kovid, this whole explanation, and all these parts of the Briya that have Kovid, there's a gvul where the Kovid doesn't come out, doesn't go over. So l'choira, there is no covet from the Eibishter there. So the Rebbe says, but even though there's bevade a chiyas from the Eibishter, that's mechaya this whole place. This whole explanation is actually supposed to be an explanation why the Rebbe said before, why when a person falls into sveikus or to all kinds of places, Rachmana litzlan, from sveikus virurim u'maharach Hashem yizboch, this whole explanation about the COVID, the Rebbe brings in, because if you keep on learning even further, you can understand why it could be in a matzav that if a person goes down so low into such kind of places, we should have not have gone in these places, even though there's a way to be mesaken that this nefila could become chazorah to be the biggest aliyah. Why? Because there is a chiyas from the Eibishter in those places, which from that chiyas you could be misaken everything and turn everything back. But now I want to go through the Torah again, from the beginning again, and see what we saw before. We learned it like the Pashtus, we went through the Torah, and let's look at the words again, because that's the way to learn Likutei Moharan, is to go through. The real way would be to learn the whole Torah at least once and twice and 3 times. You go over the Pashtus of the Torah to understand the Pashtus, but then it's always important to always go back and to see if you really understood what the Rebbe said, or you just read the words and, a lot of times the Torah Yud Beis and also in Reish Pei Beis, there's a tchuna to the Torah that looks more like a sicha. Looks like a sicha. It's retzach hazoi. It doesn't look like every word, like the Rebbe said about his Torah, that every word is meduyik, bediu, godel. And you have to be medagdik. The Rebbe says he wants everyone to be medagdik in his Torah, every word. So you always have to go back and to look and if you understand what you really understand what the Rebbe is saying. So let's start the Torah again. If a person goes after his seichel and his chochmah, yochel lipol betuusim umchshoylo israbim, v'lo v'yidei rois gdolos chaz v'shalom. So here the Lashon looks a little like the Rebbe is not really explaining what he's talking about. And if he's not really explaining what he's talking about, it looks like the Lashon is not lav dafka. Like this kind of Lashon. What does that mean? That needs also an explanation. How does it work? Why shouldn't the Rebbe be mefaret more? What does it mean going after your seichel and your chochmah? But the Rebbe is not more mefaret what it means to go after, a person goes after his seichel and after his chochmah. And that's because the way to understand what does it mean is going to be explained through the Torah itself in the hemshech of the Torah. And not because the Rebbe stellt sich avek is masber what he meant, but if you learn the Torah, it has to be that through the hemshech of the Torah you would understand what it means, what's wrong about this idea, and what does it mean a person goes after his seichel and his chochmah. So that's one thing that a person has to be himself mizbeinen. What does it mean? And then the Rebbe says, what does that? What does it mean? Again, if it's like someone's talking, like a Rav is talking to somebody, or a Mechanech, or a Rebbe, so you talk that. Listen, it's not kedai to, don't go after your chochmah, because you could fall into big mistakes. What kind of mistakes? The Rebbe doesn't say. Mechshoilis Rabbim, a lot of mechshoilis. What does it mean? How do you fall into te'usim? And what's the difference between te'usim and mechshol? There's a difference between a tois and a mechshol, because a tois is a tois. But a michshel is a little worse than a tois. And then the Rebbe goes on, he says, that's worse than everything, because if a person goes after his chacham and he falls into a mistake is a mistake. A shoige could be a mistake. A michshel is not an avera yet. A michshel is a michshel. Yeah, a person has to be nizer from michshel. It's not to come to averis. But lover de rois dolis chadashon, that's like already mamish coming to like the Rebbe says after about averis. The Rebbe says that he's mamish going to averis.
Next page.
What would the Rebbe say averis?
Next page.
Oh. Vafilu ba'veiros udvorim roim. The Rebbe says, and again the lashon udvorim roim. So when the Rebbe says rois dois, the Rebbe speaking mamish about averis. So this whole idea, it could sound like derech agav, like the Rebbe is trying to tell you, like if everything's not meduyik here, and so you could say it in a lot of ways. You could say it's time. You should know a person that goes after seichel, so it's not. It's a person that doesn't have enough emunah, and he doesn't go with betmim misubshitis. In Yiddish kann man sagen, can't see him to sein, ich kann get the plätze. Sein, ich kann get the plätze. Yeah, okay. So it doesn't, like the Rebbe could say, Yochel lipoy lemichshoylois, v'lo v'lirois gdoilis. The Rebbe didn't have to say tu'usim dafka. And if the Rebbe said tu'usim, he didn't have to say michshoylois. But we know that everything is meduyik, so it has to come out of the Torah, by the hemshech of the Torah. And maybe I have what to explain right now, but I think it's more important to the Olim should understand that that's part of the yigiyah that you have to do in L'Kutim Ran to understand, and to try to find, if everything's meduyik, what's the idea of a tois, and what's the hevel between a tois to a michshol, and why is all of this important to bring up, and then also to come out and say that it can even come to rois gdoilis. And the Rebbe's mamshel, v'yeshe kilkulu harbe. And what are they mekalkel? Kilkulu harbe. Why doesn't the Rebbe explain what were they mekalkel? Like the bigger Rishoyim Gdoilim, the Mefursim, that they were known, Shehitu Esoilam. Who are these Rishoyim? Who is the Rebbe talking about?
Is that the Kilkul? Being Matas Oilam, that is the Kilkul? Or is that just describing them?
It's a good question. What do you say? Okay, so it's open to try to understand what was the mistake. If the mistake was, if the kilkul was because they went after the chochma and the seichel, so they brought into the world to usim rabim. In such a way, if you explain that way, maybe it's easier to understand who the Rebbe is talking about, because all the big apikorasim that they brought the world today, in fact, you see today they brought the world to such rois gdoilos. It's everything starting from the das, from the toys, the tu'usim that they brought into the world. So these Rishonim, everything started. The Rebbe wants to show it could be in a way that what happens if you go after the Chochmah and the Seichel and you teach the world that everything is something that you have to understand and you could understand, and the world goes with that kind of way of thinking. So that's where the world could come to, like it's came till today. We are in a matzav. In the Rebbe's times already it started, the kfir and the askola and today it's avad and avada, that everything is starting from ideas that are mistakes. I had a feeling, and again I learned the Torah 2 times. I had a feeling that maybe there's a certain seder here in the Torah, even in the beginning of the Torah. The first thing is taka yochel lipol betuusim. A person through the seich. That's the problem with chochma and seichel. The problem is that you could come to tuusim, and if you come to tuusim, you'll come to a michshel. A michshel means, how did you say before?
Pitfall.
A pitfall. The pitfall. That's the sakana. Which from this sakana you could come to rois gdoilos chas v'shalom, from this pitfall. So again, it starts with a tois. If you go after your seichel and your chochma, what's going to happen is you could fall into a tois. This tois itself becomes a michshol, if you would have not fell into the toys, you would have not be challenged with a michshol. But this toys could make a michshol, and this michshol could be a michshol. Through the michshol, you should be able. You should fall into to rois gdolos moed. If we learn it that way, so it could make sense. It could be very nice when the Rebbe is mabshich and he says, "V'ika yadus rak leilach b'tmimis u'pshitas b'lim shum chochmas." Why? Because the Rebbe is actually saying like this: if you go with tmimis u'pshitas, so you don't fall into, even though you have a suffix, and there are sveikas, and we could explain it a little further. How could it be that even if you go with tmimis, you could have sveikas? But if you go with tmimis, so your sveikas would never become from your suffix. It wouldn't become a michshel, that the michshel could become an avera. But if you go with your seichel and your chochma, so then these sveikas could become a michshel, and from the michshel could be a machshel, and you could be nichshel in avera. Beautiful question. No, you know why it's beautiful? Because it's simple, and it's so nitzrach to ask the question. Why is it nitzrach to ask the question? Because if we would be learning a sikh and sikhs around here, right? Learn a sikh, like a Breslov learns a sikh and sikhs around. There's a lot of sikhs that the Rebbe speaks about tmimis, pshitas. You don't always feel that it's right to ask us a question. What does it mean tmimis, pshitas? And what's so nice about tmimis, pshitas? Because you say to yourself, it's tmimis, pshitas. Like I grew up. And the truth is, whatever we understand about tmimis, in a way of tmimis, is also tmimis pshitas. Even if you think into something, you want to go into something deep in Likutei Moharan, you should never give up the pashtus of the thing. Never lose the pashtus of the thing. What the Rebbe says here, tmimis pshitas, it means like we know tmimis pshitas. That means like a lot of times you could recognize this. There are people that their approach to Yiddishkeit and everything that they learn is moli tmimis pshitas, and everyone recognizes this Yid has a lot of tmimis pshitas in himself. And there are people that you recognize that every word about Torah is moli chochmas. So it's true that tmimis pshitas is tmimis pshitas in the way its tak is tmimis pshitas. But if it's a part of a Torah in the Likutei Moharan, where the Rebbe is speaking about, the Rebbe says such a statement, Ika yadus tmimis pshitas. So it's very important, taka. Everyone should try to understand what's so special about tmimis pshitas, and what does it mean taka tmimis pshitas. But the Rebbe says over here, if you look at this shtickle again, V'ika yadus so aklerer betmimis pshitas beli shum chochmas. V'listaker. Then the Rebbe says something else that sounds a little different. V'listaker b'chol dover sho'ise sheyeh shom Hashem yisborach. He should look at everything that he's doing, that the Eibishter is there in this thing. Ulebli lashgiach klal al kvoid atzmoi, rak im yesh b'ze kvoid Hashem yizborach yaseh v'im lav. So this could look like two things. Someone could say, one sec. Ika yadis leir between pshitas b'li shum chochmes. That's an avodah. The second thing of saying that whatever I do, I should always look that my personal covet shouldn't be involved. I'm not looking to feel my personal covet. Whatever I'm looking to do is just to see if there's the covet from the Eibishter there. That's something else. It doesn't mean that they have to be combined together, because someone could say that he's doing maybe everything between Pshitas, but in the inyan from covet, he's not such a big, this avoid is a little hard on him. He's able to do things with a lot of tmimis and a lot of pshitas. But the inyan from that, whatever he's doing, not to be mashgiach b'chlal kvoid atzmoi, it's a shtickle, a different tnuah and a different avoida. Or fakert is a person that could say that whatever he's doing, and there's a lot of people that I could think about that they say, and maybe they take a meaning that whatever they're doing is for kvoid Hashem yisborach, but I don't see tmimis by them. They're doing whatever they're doing with a murdik chokhmah, with a big chokhmah. They're doing everything l'man kvoid yisborach. It doesn't have to be tmimis there, but the Rebbe is putting them both together over here. And the Rebbe's Messiah says, "Va'az bevadei lo yekoshe lo olam." If he goes in this way, that whatever he's doing is tmimis without any chokhmas, and whatever he's looking to do is to see that he's doing it for the kavod for the Eibishter, and not to mean his own kavod in such a way bevadei lo yikoshe lo'olam. Now, if you recognize, why doesn't the Rebbe say "Vaz bevadei lo yipol betuusim" like the Rebbe started? Because the Rebbe started the Torah. He said that whoever goes after seichel and his chokhmah, he could fall into tuusim, and he could fall into mechsholis, and he could fall into rois gdolis. And then when the Rebbe is trying to say how should you do if you don't go after your seichel and your chokhmah, and the Rebbe says the way is because the Yikah Yiddishkeit is tmimis upshitis, and the Rebbe is saying that he should look for everything for the cover for the Eibishter. The Rebbe says bevadei lo yikosh lo'olam. That's why it brought me to a place, what I said before, that the Rebbe's talk is saying that if you go with your chokhmah and your seichel, so then you could fall into tuusim, and tuusim that come from a place from seichel and chokhmah, these tuusim become michsholis, and from a michshol you could fall into avera. But if you go faket, you go with tmimis upshitis, even though when you go with tmimis, if you're going with tmimis, so of course you can make tuusim. But you should know, if a person is saying to himself, maybe the way I'm doing something is not right, so maybe I do have to use my seichel, because I don't want to. I want to make sure that whatever I am doing in Yiddishkeit is ois gehalten. It's. I thought it over. I thought about it the way the Eibishter probably wants me to think about what I'm doing in Ruchnius. So if a person thinks that way, so that's a reason why L'chori is doing that, because he doesn't want to fall into mistakes. A mistake means even in a way of understanding, of a connection with the Eibishter. It's not just a mistake in halacha. If I did a halacha, if I was mechal Shabbos, such a toys, a mistake in Chaz v'Sholom in Hilchas Deis from the Rambam, the way what I understand about the Eibishter. A mistake is if I don't understand Yiddishkeit, Ikar Yadus, if I don't have the right understanding about Yiddishkeit in the right way, I'm not using my seichel, so I could fall into a mistake. And we see Taka today, there's a lot of people, Talmidei Chachomim, a lot of groups, that it's very important. They say that their way is the true way. And they could prove it to you. That even groups between the Charedim, their way, the way they learn, their Chassidus Sefer, their way of looking at things, of the way they explain Yiddishkeit and Torah and Havana and everything about Yiddishkeit, they use a lot of seichel there, and it's l'choyer they have to use seichel because they don't want to fall into mistakes. But the Rebbe says something very deep. The Rebbe says like this: if you go with tmimis pshitis, and the way to go with tmimis pshitis means that you look at one thing. If there is covered from the Eibishter in this thing, so even though if what I was doing is a mistake, it wouldn't become a michshel, that from the michshel avera there should come out an avera from it. But if you do it, you go with your seichel and your chokhmah, so then from a mistake it could become a michshel, and from a michshel you could get to an avera. That could be the big difference from the way of going with seichel and chokhmah to the way of going with tmimis pshitis. Now I saw somebody that wrote something also very nice over here, and it has a shaychus with tmimis pshitis also. The Rebbe says, "B'chol dover shoyise sheyesh shom Hashem yisborach, ulebli lashgiach klal al kvoid atzmoi, rak im yesh b'ze kvoid Hashem yisborach yaseh v'im lav lav." The Rebbe doesn't say that a person should look if something that he's doing, he has a personal kavod that's coming out of it. And the Rebbe doesn't say that if a person feels that he has a certain personal agenda or personal kavod, so he shouldn't do it. Only if he's mamish clean and ganzen from kavod, from his personal kavod, that's when he should do something. The Rebbe doesn't say that. The Rebbe says he should look. If there is kavod to the Eibishter, he should do it. And if not, not. If not, not. That means it could be that even if a person knows that everything that he's doing, it's hard to find something that a person should do that it should be in ganz and clean, that only he means the cover from the Eibishter. Because everything what we do, there's always a personal agenda in it, that a person can have a personal cover. But let's explain. Someone goes to daven for the Omid, He has a nice voice. He could daven for the Amid. Now this starts in the machshavas. He's a Breslover. He's looking for the emes. All kinds of machshavas start running around his head. He starts saying, "Well, I'm davening to daven for the Amid is a covet for the Eibishter because it's a mitzvah. I'm a shliach tzibur. But mitzat sheni, I mean my own covet. I like to daven for the Amid. So what should he do with this thing?" So the Rebbe is saying this: if you go with tmimis pshitis, is the covet coming out from the Eibishter? If this covet for the Eibishter, this is what you have to do. So do it with a tmimis. It doesn't make a difference if you have also an agenda and you're going to be feeling personal covet from this thing. Because if you're doing it because it's a mitzvah and going over to the Amid to daven, there won't become a michshel, won't come out of this thing. Chaz v'sholem. But if you're going to start going with your seichel and you're going to try to adjust everything with your seichel, how to daven for the Amid and not to have shum covet, chaz v'sholem, and everything's going to be without a tmimis and without a pshitis, so then you could fall into such a place where by the end of the day, the whole davening of yours is going to be a davening kule for your own covet.